Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today as we commence March Meeting 2021, now in its 12th edition. In 2008, even before the establishment of the Sharjah Art Foundation, March Meeting was conceived as an opportunity to bring together artists, curators, and art professionals in Sharjah as a way to connect and collaborate on future projects. This was a time when many artists and professionals working in the region would be more likely to meet at major international events in Europe or the US, rather than gather at our respective institutions. March Meeting was one attempt to address this situation. After the past 13 years, the scale and scope of the meeting has evolved into the expansive and distinct format that it takes today. Still, March Meeting remains a welcoming and enriching experience that continues to shape an international conversation around contemporary art. This year's March Meeting was conceived by the late scholar and curator Okwui Enwezor, who before his passing wished to use this edition as an opportunity to reflect on the relatively recent history of a global art world. A pioneering curator of international exhibitions, Okwui was interested in the vital work of emergent, primarily non-Western models, and no other form has had the impact of the biennial. He saw the Sharjah Biennial as a case study for displacing older, entrenched institutional practices and priorities, and thought that our biennial offered a critical alternative. With this in mind, March Meeting 2021, Unravelling the Present, examines the history of the Sharjah Biennial and the future of the biennial model. Taking place from the 12th to the 21st of March, this edition sets the stage for the upcoming Sharjah Biennial 15, which is scheduled to open in March 2022. I have often spoken about the influence that Okwi's Documenta 11, which took place in 2002, had on my work in retooling the Sharjah Biennial into a curated international exhibition. It is with this profound appreciation that I invited him in the spring of 2018 to curate the Sharjah Biennial 15. Sadly, Okwui would pass away before he was able to realize both projects. I, along with the SB15 Working Group and Advisory Committee comprised of his close friends and collaborators, moved forward with his vision to commemorate his legacy. March Meeting 2021 is an integral part of the framework for Sharjah Biennial 15, Thinking Historically in the Present, which will reflect on the ways that Okwui Enwezor's work has shaped contemporary art paradigms. Throughout his career, he laid out an intellectual project that influenced the evolution of institutions and biennials around the world, including our Sharjah Biennial. March Meeting 2021 will examine the evolution of Sharjah Biennial and its role, place, and impact in the region and the global contemporary art scene at large. It'll also focus on the biennial's shift away from traditional modes of curating and displaying art by activating non-institutional spaces, moving to non-geographic models of representation, as well as the development of a year-round program enabled by the establishment of the Sharjah Art Foundation. This edition of March Meeting is particularly exceptional as it comes at a time of great global challenges. Although the pandemic has limited our ability to welcome this year's speakers to Sharjah, the Foundation brings an extended 10-day program instead of the usual 3. We're delighted to be virtually convening an exceptional group of people from around the world who have worked with us in the past or have contributed to conversations that have helped shape our development. At this unprecedented moment in history, we hope that the March Meeting 2021 will continue to provide a space to reflect on what has been built and organize ourselves around the work ahead. Today marks not only the first day of March Meeting 2021, but also the opening of the Spring 2021 exhibitions across the Foundation's venues and spaces. Taking place in Al Muraja Art Spaces is the solo exhibition, Ryan Tabit Exquisite Corpse, which presents the first in-depth Middle East showcase of his ongoing project, Fragments. The exhibition features a number of new works commissioned by the Foundation. In the landmark Flying Saucer, which was recently renovated by Sharjah Art Foundation, is the group exhibition Unsettled Objects. The show presents recently acquired and rarely seen works of over 30 artists from the Foundation's collection. The Sharjah Art Foundation collection, which is anchored by acquisitions from the Sharjah Biennial, a year-round exhibitions and other core programs, and has over the years grown into one of the preeminent public collections of modern and contemporary art in the Middle East. Also on view until the 10th of April are the solo exhibitions Zarina Bimji Black Pocket and Tara Atwi Cycles in 11. Much like the March Meeting, these exhibitions bring to the forefront important conversations around contemporary art. Through significant presentations that celebrate the work of artists from the Manassa region, we explore considerations for an alternative art history and questions about museological practices. I hope that our community enjoys the spring exhibitions at Sharjah Art Foundation. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the March meeting speakers and participants for their contribution to this edition, the team at Sharjah Art Foundation who have worked on organizing this ambitious program online, and I also want to thank you, our audiences, for joining us from around the world. We look forward to having you be part of this cultural exchange. Thank you all again, and I hope you enjoy the discussion over the next 10 days.